Everyone on the train disappeared while I was asleep. Everyone, except her, the lonely passenger. Since I was a child, I always wanted to study abroad. So when I graduated from high school, I moved to Korea as an international student. But Seoul was nothing like the quiet town I had grown up back in Canada. Most of the time, I felt completely alone. I had to adjust and learn everything all over again. I had only been in Korea for about 2 months when this happened. That night, I stayed out late with some classmates. I felt like I was finally making friends. I remember thinking it was the best time I had since I moved. I couldn't wait to get home to call my mom and tell her all about it. By the time we finished eating and I headed to the subway station, it was already close to midnight. I rushed down into the station just as the train doors were closing. I still didn't know the city well enough to find my way around at night, but at least I had gotten used to riding the subway. At first, everything felt normal. There were still a few people inside the train, a couple sitting quietly together, an older man sleeping in the corner, and woman sitting alone near the far end of the train. I sat down and checked my phone. 12:21 a.m. I still had a long way until home. Sitting alone on an empty train made me think of all my friends and family back home, and how far I am from everyone. I remember thinking, is this my life now? Is this what my next 4 years look like? What if it doesn't get better? I saw my reflection in the window. For a moment, I didn't recognize myself. I wondered if anyone back home would notice how different I looked, how different I felt. At the next stop, a man got on. He sat directly across from me. Our eyes met. So I smiled to be polite. He started staring at me, both hands in his pockets, not blinking, not looking away. I pretended to check the subway map above the doors and quietly moved to another seat further down the car. Maybe I was overthinking. I told myself it was nothing. I must have fallen asleep. When I opened my eyes again, the train felt different. The man was gone. Everyone was gone. The only other person left inside the train was the woman at the far end, exactly where she had been before, perfectly still, with her head down. I checked the subway map above the doors. I didn't recognize the station names. At first, I thought maybe I had missed my stop. I pulled out my phone to check the subway app, but I had no signal. That was when I noticed something else. The woman was closer now, not much closer, just one seat closer than before. I stared at her for a second, trying to remember if I'd seen her move earlier. I told myself I was just tired, but the train kept going and going. It had already been at least 10 minutes since I woke up, and I started getting worried. Finally, the train slowed. The doors opened. I leaned forward, expecting to see a platform. There was nothing. Just darkness. No platform. No lights. No signs. No sound coming from outside. Not even the distant echo of another train somewhere in the tunnel. I didn't know where I was. It felt like I had slipped out of the world somehow, like I was nowhere. I pulled out my phone. Again, no signal. Outside, only darkness. And I realized nobody was coming. Nobody even knew where I was. No one will know if I disappeared. Then the doors closed again and the train started moving. I looked back toward the woman. She was closer again, still sitting, still motionless. Something about her stillness felt different from someone who was simply tired. That's when I noticed she had no bag, no phone, no book. I couldn't even remember seeing her stand up. At that point, I tried convincing myself she was probably just another tired passenger trying to get home. But something about the train no longer felt normal. The air felt heavy. The silence inside the car didn't feel real anymore. Then the subway announcement crackled overhead, but this time the voice sounded distorted through the speakers. I couldn't understand most of it. Then I heard one phrase, "Last stop." The train slowly came to a stop, but it couldn't have been the last stop. Not yet. The doors opened. Outside was complete darkness. No platform, no lights, nothing. I panicked. I didn't know if I had fallen asleep and somehow ended up somewhere dangerous, or if I had gotten onto the wrong train entirely. And the woman, she was sitting directly across from me now, closer than she should have been. I remember my hands shaking as I stood up. Part of me just wanted another human being to talk to, even if my Korean wasn't very good. I slowly walked toward her and quietly said, "Excuse me?" in Korean. No response. The train was completely silent. I reached out and tapped her shoulder. The moment my hand touched her, her body collapsed and fell directly against me. At first, I thought she was drunk. I tried to be gentle. I put my hands on her shoulders and tried to sit her back up. She wouldn't move. I tried again, harder this time. Nothing. Her cold skin pressed against my arm. Then my chest. It felt like ice against my skin. Sharp. The kind of cold that burns. I could feel sweat on the back of my neck. My hands were shaking. I tried to pull away. She was slowly sliding further onto me. She was on top of me now, all that impossible weight pressing down on my chest. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I opened my mouth to scream, but nothing came out. And then, I don't know why, I thought of my mom, just her face, her voice, how she always picked up on the first ring no matter what time I called. I just missed her. I tried one more time, and the weight lifted. Then the lights flickered. The doors opened. Voices filled the car. People stepped inside, laughing and talking like nothing had happened. I looked around. She was gone. I ran out of the train at the next stop and took a taxi home. Monday morning, I told one of the students what happened to me. She told me she heard something about that, so I searched online and found articles about a woman in her 40s. She was found dead on the Seoul subway late one night. No one knew who she was. No one reported her missing. No one looked for her. She had no family, no friends, nobody to miss her. They say she still rides the last train, looking for passengers who carry the same loneliness she did. I sat with that for a while, and I remembered how lonely I felt that night on the train. I must have felt exactly what she must have felt every day of her life, completely alone. But I had something she didn't, someone to call out to, someone who would always pick up. I called my mother the next morning. I just needed to hear her voice. She picked up on the first ring, as always. To this day, it's still hard to believe what happened that night, where I went, or who she really was. Did I dream everything? I don't think so. Even now, I never take the subway late at night. But when I do, I always find myself looking for the woman in white at the far end of the train. I don't know what I would do if I saw her again.